Hi guys, Cheap Kit Goon here. Today's video, we're going to be reviewing some gear. Now it's going to be completely off the books today, just kind of rant about gear, comparing two setups I've had, or I'm going to have, stuff like that. So, why don't we get into it? So, last Milsom West, the last event I went to, I basically ran a scab kit. Most poor looking kit, most civilian, just ragtag, mismatch everything you could think of. As I said in my last video, I looked like surplus store Call of Duty ghost for poors. And so I ran a rucking setup. Now I ran it well because I've used the gear before, but it was a heavy setup. And it wasn't the most convenient to put on and off, and especially to get stuff out of it, and I'll explain why in a minute. So let me bring that up onto the table here. So everything in this bag is out of it, so it isn't as big as it looked during the event. I can put a picture up on the screen here, but this is what I was using. Underneath this rain cover here, I have a green Osprey hiking backpack. Got this at Bass Pro, I want to say around 130 bucks. So it wasn't very, it's a great backpack. I recommend it for anybody. Quality built, has lasted me several years. So it's definitely worth the 130, but if you're poor, I don't recommend it. Now, it's a great hiking backpack. Airsofting, that's a different story, right? So, using this at a Milsom West, one of the key advantages of it is that it's a hiking backpack. So it has good frame on the back here, great weight distribution through the straps, the waist straps, and the shoulder straps. Adjustments were very easy, and there's many pockets. I could put many things. So that's the advantage of the backpack, is the weight distribution and the solid frame it has. Very comfortable to an extent. The disadvantage of it is because it has that to it, you have, it's a very heavy backpack on its own. This is pretty much empty with the exception of some stuff in this top pack, which I was too lazy to take out. It's a very kind of heavy backpack on its own, because it has that frame, it has all the extra stuff in it to get you through hiking. With that being said, not the most easy backpack to put on and take off because of those straps, because of how tight they need to be in order to really disperse that weight. And that's the one disadvantage, is because when you're about to step off and leave for a ruck and set up a patrol base somewhere else, you really have to, if you have some belly fat, you gotta suck in your gut, you gotta stretch those straps and push them in, as fighting with your life against the backpack. So that's not really the most desirable situation. Same thing with taking it off. You have to lift up your gear, especially if you're running a belt setup or something. You have to dig under the gear that you had on already to try and find that strap wherever it might be and quick release it, and then do the same for the top. So not the most convenient in terms of efficiency and speed, how accessible things are. That was another thing. This is a bright green bag. In no circumstance, except maybe very early fall and midsummer vegetation, is this going to be very camouflaged. So what I did to combat that, off of some European website, I got this tactical ruck cover. Very great, probably IR treated, I don't know, it's about 15 bucks, but if you can find something better, I would. Now, what I did is I put it over the ruck. You'll notice there's the straps from the bag poking out. What I did is I actually ran another bag on top. I had this assault pack clipped right here to the bag, as well as my sleeping mat would go right here. This right here, at a $15 bag from Walmart. I just saw it one time, man, this is a lot better than what I was carrying on it before. And it's a lot better color scheme, matches the bag. And I'm too poor to get a real assault pack, right? Yeah, I can afford stuff. It's funnier if I do it cheaply. So I put some carabiners on this, put some D-clips on it, whatever you like to call them. Strapped them, worked just fine. Was it a little hard to strap onto the backpack and take it off? Yes. It was not efficient in that regard. I thought, I'll have time to put stuff down and take it off. I did, but not as much as I'd like to, and it became more of a hassle than anything. So I definitely don't recommend this. If you can find a better way to actually clip something onto a bigger rucksack, do it. Don't go for this, ragtag kind of setup. If you're looking for efficiency, don't do this. If you're looking for, just to get by, this will do the trick. but it's just going to be a little slower, and it might get mentally painful after your second day of flipping and unclipping your assault pack over and over again to go on the next engagement, things like that. Let's go over this. $15 at Walmart. It's a pretty good bag. It's lasted me a few months. Right now, I don't see any signs of damage to it. It's been through quite a lot in those few months, so at least I'd say. How I ran this is first small pocket here. I ran my small stuff, my very unnecessary but needed via the tax op from Wilson West. So I had my trash bag, note-taking stuff, pen and pencil, and a little duck collar just for kicks and giggles. That was about it. Occasionally I'd stuff some trash. If I ate a granola bar, I'd like throw it in this back pocket. There's plenty of space. That's the front pocket. Next up, we have pocket right here. Very small pocket, but it's pretty wide. So what I ran in here, got my lighter for fuel, and got my knife for cutting rope, cutting anything else. And I didn't need to use it because it didn't rain, so I didn't have to cut any rope or anything for a shelter. Put up a rain fly. That's all I really had in there. Now, in the big pocket, what I was carrying had a flag in this rear section back here. I don't know if you can really see it, but there's a little divider here. And in the front part, I had snacks, a towel, headlamp, and my spare Titan battery. And I'll go over some of my other gear in a later video regarding like my gun and my batteries and things like that. A side pouch here, I ran poncho. Now early on, I had my med kit in this side pocket, but I did change it to one of the pouches on my belt setup. So I ran this all right here. And it did drag a little, it did get kind of heavy. There are some things I discovered that I didn't actually need in here. For example, my towel. That's about it for this rucking setup. Very kind of annoying to clip and unclip stuff, but it did have great weight distribution. But either way, it's still going to get heavy after about, 5 or 10 miles of rucking with 40 pounds on your back. You are going to start to feel it. The setup I'm going to be running the next event I go to, which is yet to be determined. I'm going to run this. This is an Alice pack. Price-wise, I greatly recommend it. Considering this was, Army surplus, used by the military for a number of years, I'd say you can't really go wrong with it. The one thing it doesn't have, weight distribution, at least by itself. You can buy frames for these, however, those are expensive, and I didn't feel like getting one. So what I have here is just the raw Alice bag itself, and some straps I bought afterwards. So minus the straps, the Alice pack costed about 15 bucks, maybe $5 for shipping. So it's about $20 for this great big bag. A lot more storage space than what you see there, but you don't have the weight distribution. However, this is much more lightweight because you don't have that frame inside. It weighs about maybe five, maybe even more than that, pounds less. So it's a big trade-off, but I'd say this will come in handy. Plenty of storage space, but the thing I like most about this is the large pockets it had on the outside. If you paid attention to the last video, you want to have almost everything in your main rucksack as equally accessible as possible, and you don't want to stack things. Now, if you have only camping stuff and civilian stuff and you don't feel like dropping money on military issue equipment, needless to say, anything better than this too, you can always run some jerry-rigged thing that I just showed you. The Osprey bag with a Walmart bag clipped to it with a rain cover, things like that. It'll work, just not the best. This has a massive main bag right here. It has these very large pockets right here. I'd say with a compression bag, I can most likely fit my sleep system in this. I'll have to clip sleeping mat onto this, of course, on the outside somewhere, but that's not a problem. Fit some of my clothes or food or something in these other two pockets, put other stuff in here. And really, it's not going to be as heavy as the other bag was. This, because it doesn't have the waist straps, it is also much easier to put on and take off. Very, very much easier to drop it in a hurry. If you get engaged on a road and you're rucking, just slip it off take your gun up, and you're good to go. That's one advantage I will say about this, is how easy it is to interface with your gear, put on, take off, all that stuff. You can do a lot more things in a hurry with this, especially with the added accessibility. You can get anything you really want out of it at any given time, as long as you know where you put your stuff, which shouldn't be a problem if you are prepared for Milsim West. You need to know your gear, you need to practice with your gear, and you really need to know where you put everything. That is very vital. When I'm going to be running with that, you notice, hey, that's going to have all my big stuff I'm not going to need throughout the day. What am I going to do for little stuff like snacks, a flashlight, any other things I want to carry into combat? Glad you asked. You probably didn't, but I'm going to tell you anyways, because it's the internet and I don't care what you think. This is a Smersh. Now, these can get pretty pricey. Depends really where you get them. Now, I was lucky enough, my friend so graciously shipped this into me for free. This right here, you can see setup he gave me. It's spray painted, so that's why it might be a funky color on camera. You can see here, we got 2 places for mags here. We got some more space for mags in there. They do have a kind of like a plasticky material in there, so the mags slide in very, very easily. It's all Velcro, at least on this one. It's a new gen Smersh rig. This right here is what's going to replace everything in this bag. This is your Smersh butt pack. So it might not look big at first, but it has a ton of room. Going to Milsim West, now I also know the very, very minimum things I actually do need in one of these packs. But you'll notice it's a small little bag. However, if I pull it out, it's a very large drawstring bag. You can use that to your advantage. I doubt I'm gonna fill it anywhere past the top. Snacks, headlamp, a flag, the little stuff that can fit pretty much anywhere. So just really small stuff, easily fit in here, and it won't cause too much added weight. To close it, I have had to help my friend open and close his many times. Milsim West is a big team building sport, so don't be afraid to ask people for help. Also, be prepared to help people when they need it. Now on the other side here, the same thing. On the exact other side, you have more space for magazines. Did come with a grenade pouch. However, I'm not going to be running grenades, so I'm going to figure out what to do with that. Might put some other little stuff in it. Now, what this doesn't have, and what I will probably order, canteen pouch, e-tool pouch. Online, you're going to find people that say, don't bring an e-tool. You're not allowed to dig everywhere. Mount ball car, you were allowed to dig. Porta potties are going to be very far and few in between, and you won't be able to get to one very easily. So what do? You gotta take a shit in the woods, and you gotta have an e-tool for that, because not everybody's gonna have one. Everybody might be thinking the same thing. Oh, I'm not gonna need it. If you're going to have to take a crap in the woods, you're going to have to dig deep. Last time I had to take a very strong stick, caveman style, like one of those YouTube videos with the primitive survival people in the Philippines, just hitting the ground with a stick. It worked after a while, but not ideal. So get yourself an e-tool. I don't have one myself yet. I'll order one. I'll probably get a cheap one, put it through some tests, and I'll make a video about how it's holding up. I got some other gear coming in at the moment that I'm going to be running at the next event. I'll do some reviews on that. Here I have coming in Russian VSR 93 uniform surplus. I'm expecting that to hold up very well. Dropped a little bit of money on that, around 100. It was $70 for the uniform, full set, jacket, pants. About 30-40 bucks for shipping. I'm not good at math, but a little upwards of 100. That's gonna hold up pretty well because it's surplus. What won't hold up well, but I did want to buy just to see what would happen to it, and it cost me some money. So definitely get a job before you consider going into airsoft. That's a big thing. Even if you're gonna drop as little money as possible, you want a sustainable income, and you want to budget out for anything. Don't drop all your money at once. Be responsible with your money. Wait like several weeks before you make any purchase above like 20 bucks. That's how I do it, at least. ATAX FG uniform coming in. However, it's not a good one by any means. It was a $20 AliExpress uniform. It's gonna come in around November. I won't be able to make a video on that until that ships in. I'm expecting all the threads to rip very, very easily. I plan on making a video on that. I expect it, but I wouldn't give it past a year before things start ripping off. I'm gonna make a video about that probably around Christmas time. Same thing with the rest of my gear I'm going to be running. I'm going to be running the cheap ATAX, cheap AliExpress patches I got, Smersh, the Alice rig, things like that. This kit I'm expecting to be much lighter. Might be another year before I go to another Milson West event, but I promise I'll probably make another video about it. That's about it. I don't really have too much more to say. I really can't go into great detail about any gear knowledge because I don't really have any. I just buy surplus stuff, try to find the cheapest thing possible, and I'll tell you if it works or not. That's basically what this channel is going to be. Event footage, letting new players know what to stay away from if they want gear that's going to last, what they can sort of safely buy. That's about it for this video. I've been ranting for probably about half an hour now. If you guys like the content, I don't know, think about subscribing or pressing the like button on the video. It doesn't really mean that much to me. However, it does spread the message around to new players that might need it, so that is appreciated. Stay cheap, stay gooning.